Hi guys, it's Presley. If you notice at the bottom of the screen there are the big idea questions. Think of these as possible essays on the test. And then the areas of study noted towards the bottom right side of your screen are kind of the different civilizations we're going to look at and how those big ideas fit into those civilizations. All right, so your first topic is the fall of Rome and the Byzantine Empire. The main idea for this section is to look at how both internal problems and outside invasions are going to really pull apart and cause the decline of the Roman Empire. Now, when we say the decline of the Roman Empire, we mean the western half, the Italian half of the empire. And we'll talk a little bit more about what happens with the eastern half and how it turns into what's called the Byzantine Empire. Okay, you notice that this slide says multiple causes and hint, 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 ahem, ahem. Guys, this is one of the two possible essays for your exam. It's spread out here in a spreadsheet for you, and you should have a large copy of this slide on the back side of your cover sheet. So you might want to pull that out so that you have plenty of room to write. So we're going to look at the political reasons, the military reasons, the social reasons, and the economic reasons inside of Rome. But then we're also going to look at the immediate cause of outside Germanic tribes and the Huns at the gate. So let's start with the political reasons. As we hit the decline of Rome, the office of emperor is not a fun job. And the military starts interfering because they start accepting bribes and they start killing off and assassinating emperors. So the job winds up being really a pain in the neck. And all of the really well-educated people are going to go into the church, as the Christian church is going to take control of the religion. Becoming emperor kind of becomes second class as a job. So civil war is going to break out. You're going to have social problems that are going to cause a civil war. And in the end, this is going to cause a decline of the empire. They're not going to be able to hold it together. Military issues. There are threats in the north. As the Huns get kind of pushed away from trying to invade Han China, they move west into the areas of what is kind of modern day Germany. And the people who had been living there, these Germanic tribes, these quote unquote barbarian tribes, are going to they're very peaceful people, and they're not going to be able to fight off the Huns. So they kind of decide that the lesser of the two evils is to get absorbed into Rome. So they move south. But as they move south, they're not going to be 100% quote Roman. There's not a lot of funds for defense because crops, are your big money maker, and the soil has been overused for so long that it's not able to produce enough yield. People are starving, so there's a decline in population. There's not enough crop left over to give in taxes, so there's not enough money to pay for the army. Okay, social unrest. There's a decline in the interest of Rome. As more and more people become Christian, they believe in this kind of equality of all people and this peaceful existence. So the idea of becoming part of the Roman legions, the Roman army, is not going to really be attractive. People are going to avoid it. Low confidence in the army and in the government of Rome to protect people. People start seeing it as very corrupt, and you can buy senator, and these senators are co-conspiring with the military to get rid of and assassinate emperors. So people just don't trust their government anymore. They're not very confident. So then this also leads to a lack of patriotism. People aren't proud of being Roman anymore. Economics. I mentioned those poor harvests. Poor harvests are happening because there's been a little bit of drought, but mostly because of overuse of the land. They don't understand the concept of nitrogen and the importance of nitrogen in plants. All they understand is I've been farming this spot for so long, I'm not getting plants anymore. Or my plants are really sickly and weak looking. There's disruptions in trade as the Huns are attacking, as China has some issues with their dynastic cycle and the end of the Han dynasty, and the trade isn't happening, and they're not able to make money with trade, so that causes economic burdens. This also causes inflation. There's not, prices are going up, so people start expecting printing more money, making more money, and that doesn't work. You guys remember this from American history. The solution is not just to print more. You have to fix the value. Heavy tax burden. Because the government is not able to tax trade, and trade's not going well, the government therefore starts to try and tax the crops. But there's not enough crops growing either. There's not enough of anything really to start going around. And that gap between the rich and the poor just keeps growing. The rich get really rich after the Carthaginian Wars. The poor get even poorer. And in the end, poor people who are stuck in that position and society is kind of stinking on them, they're eventually going to revolt. This is the same for any empire in history. So that pretty much covers your causes internally. Everything inside the box is inside the empire. Outside the box next to the little green cross on the side is the immediate cause, Germanic tribes and the Huns. As the Huns push out of this Asian steppes and start heading south and west into what is modern day Germany and Austria, they force the very peaceful Germanic tribes that were living there off their lands. Germanic peoples decide to go to the Romans for protection. Romans see this as an ability to kind of force them into serving in the military, because again, Rome's been trying to fix the military problem. The issue with the Germanic tribes is that loyalty to their own kind, so their leaders, their local kind of general, not to the Roman nation. So they start kind of pillaging and plundering for themselves a little bit on the sly. And there isn't this kind of cohesion that you would see in the past under like Caesar and Augustus when it comes to the Roman legions. Eventually, these Germanic tribes are going to actually sack Rome, and it's going to be this huge, probably one of the most bloody events of Roman history as far as Romans are concerned inside their empire. And that is going to be the end of Rome in the West. Let's review a little bit about emperors and how they attempted to bring about reforms. So first you have Diocletian. Diocletian is going to rule from about the year 284 current era. He did pretty well at first. He is going to restore some order. He is going to kind of gain back some territory, but then he's going to lose it again. He is generally increasing the strength of Rome. Constantine, you talked about, is going to solve the problem of the governing of Rome by dividing it into two pieces. Western part centered around the city of Rome, and the eastern part where he is going to move the capital city, or his city, and he's going to rename it Constantinople. This, most historians say, is the mark of the true falling apart of Rome. Once you split it in two, it just never gets back to where it was. The last Roman emperor in western half of Rome is going to be Romulus Augustus. He's going to be ousted by the Germanic tribes when they sacked the city in 476.